Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sarah Sperber, and I am a real estate agent in the Northern Nevada housing market. Every week I hop on here and I give you guys some valuable insights about our market, about the lifestyle here, and all things related to buying and selling real estate. Today is no different, and on today's episode, I'm talking specifically to those of you who are thinking about relocating here from the fabulous state of Oregon. All right, one thing that both states have in common is that most people mispronounce them. I'll admit, I moved here from Massachusetts, and I was raised and taught in school that it was Nevada, and boy was I wrong. It's actually pronounced Nevada, and it took me so long to figure that out. I also grew up saying Oregon, and we used to play the Oregon Trail in school, so if you know, you know. It's actually Oregon, turns out. But I'm gonna get into some other similarities and differences here, so stay with me. One thing that I learned from the Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada is that there are some key states wherein we are seeing most of our relocating buyers coming from. Obviously, number one's California. It's our next door neighbor. I think with everything that's happening in California, there's somewhat of a mass exodus. I think a lot of states are kind of feeling the influx of Californians coming into their state. Whether or not you like it, that's on you. I'm not gonna get into that right now, but that would be our number one. Number two is the sunny state of Florida. Number three would be the state of Texas, and I've made videos for both of those. So now I'm gonna talk to you guys. You're our number four most popular location where people are coming to our state from. And I'm gonna dive into all of the things that you might need to know or you might wanna consider when you're coming from your state to ours. Obviously, the key thing that most people look at when they're considering side-by-side state comparisons is the cost of living. So I'm gonna save the best for last. Make sure you stay with me, and without further ado, I'm gonna dive into some of the other topics of the day. Let's talk first about the weather. We are in the high desert here in Reno, though with that, we get a lot of bipolarity with our weather. We have a lot of very, very hot days in the summer, followed by cold nights. It's not uncommon for it to be sunny one minute and then snowing another. That happens here all the time. I always joke and say I drive around with my car fully loaded with like flip-flops and a bathing suit and also a heavy coat because it's not that crazy to need both in one day. I feel like overall it's a pretty sunny place to live. We get our fair share of storms and winter weather. We're right over the hill from Lake Tahoe, where they get a whole lot of snow, like record-breaking amounts of snow. But that said, once the storm passes, it typically clears up to be beautiful and sunny. The same can't necessarily be said about most of Oregon or the Pacific Northwest. I feel like up there you guys are kind of accustomed to it being gloomy, rainy, moody, emo, I don't know. Great art is made in your state. A lot of people are really in touch with their emotions. I don't know, I'm just joking, but it is known for being a bit more wet and kind of dark and rainy, but with that, very lush and beautiful. So, you know, you can't knock it, but they are different in that way. Everything here is dry. I mean, it's basically like we live in a sauna, or when it's cold out, it's very dry and cold, which in some ways is really, really harsh. Obviously, also in Oregon, you are, you know, in some parts of the state on the coast, which is really beautiful. We are pretty landlocked here, although we do have Lake Tahoe just right over the hill from Reno. It's about a 30 to 40 minute drive to the north side of Lake Tahoe. Not far at all if you want to get near water, although it's not coast. It is one of the most amazing lakes anywhere, so we have that going for us. As far as geography goes, Reno is situated, like I said, right up against the Sierra Nevadas. That's our beautiful backdrop and provides us lots of outdoor recreation and such, but we are high desert. Whereas with Oregon, I think you get that nice diversity of having coastal, yet mountainous, yet maybe more lush forests by comparison to what we have here. In either case, if you're an outdoor enthusiast, you're gonna thrive. Here we have so much to do with the lake being in our backyard. If you're an avid skier, snowboarder, hiker, mountain climber, we've got all that. So come on over. All right, we're gonna talk about politics. I'm not gonna tell you where I sit politically because it's none of your business, but also it's not really relevant. I'm just the messenger, so please don't come after me. I love to know what you think always, and I will respond to every comment, but my purpose here is not to weigh in on either side. But that said, I believe if you look at both states, Reno, Nevada in general is going to be a bit more center to right-leaning when compared to Oregon, which is going to be a little bit more liberal, especially in places like Eugene and Portland. Within our state of Nevada, the more densely populated urban areas are going to be more liberal than the outlying lands, but overall I would call Nevada a pretty purple state in general. Let's talk about overall lifestyle in terms of culture, entertainment, quality of life stuff, and then, of course, as promised, I will talk about the cost of living. Reno offers a really vibrant cultural scene. We have so many artistic and creative people here. We have like the whole Burning Man vibe and culture, whether or not you even like Burning Man or care about Burning Man. We're the last city before the Arts and Cultural Festival, so a lot of the culture here is influenced by it. You're gonna see big artwork all over the city that at one point was part of the playa. It now lives here. That's super common. And honestly, even if you hate Burning Man, what's not to like about having beautiful artwork all over the city? Beyond that, we have casinos. We have a lot of really great independent venues that have opened up for arts and culture and entertainment. And we have so many amazing eateries, eclectic food choices. It's really developed and it's come such a long way since I moved here like 15 years ago. Obviously, if you're coming from Portland or one of the bigger cities in Oregon, I'd still say we have a little bit of catching up to do. However, I have to say there are a lot of parallels as far as just kind of the general vibe. We're seeing a lot more affluent demographics of people moving in. We're seeing big tech. We're seeing big industry. We're seeing prices of everything kind of go up, and with that come a lot of amenities, so there's pros, cons. I'd say overall, both kind of have this like gritty feel though at their core. Like the essence of each city, if you compare side by side Reno to Portland, they're kind of like oddly similar. Do you guys agree? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. What we've all been waiting for, cost of living. I'm not gonna do like a huge analysis here. I'm just gonna talk about in general. So obviously, when you're looking at a state as a whole, it's really hard to make specific comparisons, right? So like Reno, obviously in our state is like a whole different animal than like Elko or Fallon or Fernley. Like it's really hard to compare apples to apples when you're talking about like an entire state. So like overall, I'd say city to city, like if we're looking at Reno to Portland, cost is probably pretty similar as far as like cost of living, groceries, gas, housing. If you look at certain pockets of each state, you're gonna have a lot of variables within that. But hey, if you have specific questions about cost of living, about housing prices, I'm here for you. I'm a free resource. You can book a free call with me. There's a link to do that in the description box below. It's no obligation. It's just an opportunity for us to connect, see if we might be a good fit to work together if you are thinking about making a move here, or at the very least get your questions answered and help you put a strategy in place for your move. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button. I put out new videos every single week about the Reno Sparks housing market, the Northern Nevada lifestyle, and all things to do with buying and selling real estate. Thank you guys so much for joining me. It means the world. I know this is kind of building. It's really exciting to see more and more people tuning in every week. So I thank you, and I will see you next week.